guys? How y'all doing today? Well, baby, if you are Sean Diddy Combs, oof, the pressure is getting worse. If you guys don't know, Diddy's team called an emergency hearing. They thought they had the Da Vinci cheat code to get out of what's coming down. Let me give y'all the spoiler alert. The judge just destroyed Diddy. This hearing just happened. It's a new hearing. The judge just destroyed Diddy, and the prosecution says this trial is happening whether you're ready or not. The key witness that Diddy thought that was going to get him off, most of their testimony has been excluded. On top of that, the judges let them know that there are certain medical procedures that they feel like Diddy did that literally was what he required all of his girlfriends to actually go through. Baby, they said motive, they said everything. There is so much going on. Get this, the person that, first of all, that Cassie tape, 100% going to be used. The judge said so. Second of all, the prosecution is having the person that filmed the copy of the Cassie assault, they are going to be testifying as to what they heard, what they saw. Baby, they reached deep for hotel security, and it looks like Diddy is not getting out of this. Yo, listen, Diddy got destroyed in court. We love to see it. Don't forget, we are going to be covering this trial live. And also, jury selection begins the 5th, so buckle up. Don't worry, I'm going to give y'all recaps, and we're going to do a lead up to the trial. But for all of you guys that actually want the details, we actually have the live feed of the live tweeting Inner City Press. They do all the live tweeting that all the major networks actually use. He live tweeted everything that happened in the court. If you guys don't know, in the Southern District of New York, you are not allowed to have cameras. But lucky y'all, we can see exactly what was going on in the court. So with no further ado, can y'all hear me? Make sure y'all hit the like button. Hey, guys. Hey, what's up, iCandy220? Literally, what's up, Joel? Hey, what's up, Danny? Hey, D. Hey, Miss Ann. Hey, lovely Marie BK. Rashinda, what's up? Mixed Chick, what's up? Sabrina Robinson, D. Will, Table Talk with Mimi exclusive. Woo! Mixed Chick Samantha, thank you for rejoining Tattle Toast. Okay, fine. With no further ado, let's get directly into what happened in the courtroom. And baby, I just skimmed it. Diddy had the worst day in court. If I was Diddy, I would be really scared right now. And let me just say this before I start the live, getting into the notes of what actually happened, right? And it's good. But let me just say this, right? Mixed Chick, thank you so much. Hey, what's up, Samantha? How you doing? Thank you so much for being a member for 13 months. So listen, right? Diddy hired Young Thug's lawyer. And don't get me wrong, Young Thug's lawyer is a good lawyer. He wanted Joe Tacopino, the same person that got ASAP Rocky off. However, Jay-Z and Diddy are warring. Jay-Z said absolutely not. Diddy does not have access to Alex Sparrow, and he doesn't have access to Joe Tacopino. Now, there's other good lawyers out there, but Alex Sparrow and Joe Tacopino have literally just proven themselves, right? So he got Young Thug's lawyer. Now, here's the thing. Young Thug's lawyer is a very, very, very good lawyer. Here's the issue. He was literally running circles around Fulton County DA. Fulton County DA is not the Southern District of New York. The Southern District of New York took down El Chapo, a quadbillionaire, right? Probably owned more, got more cash buried in the ground than Jeff Bezos, right? They took down Harvey Weinstein. He got money and connections. They took down Jeffrey Epstein. Money, connections, you know the deal. On top of that, they also took down Ghislaine Maxwell. They have taken down Osama bin Laden's right-hand man. The Southern District of New York is a finely oiled machine. The Fulton County DA was operating like a clown show. The judge thought he was a king. Fannie Willis was doing what I don't even know. It was an ish show. It's a clown show. However, that is not the Southern District of New York. So a lot of reason I feel like Young Thug got off. Yes, you had a great lawyer, but Fannie Willis and them were messing up big time. You're not going to have that with the Southern District of New York. On top of that, you only got 2.5 weeks for your trial lawyer to get up to speed and have the evidence you want to go. This is why they called this emergency motion. It was so desperate. And if Diddy had gotten some of these motions, I think he would have been in a much stronger place. But the judge said, forget about it. Really quick, because you all know I love doing blasts from the past. I really feel like Diddy got on the judge's bad side in the beginning. Now, old school tattletales, y'all remember. But if you don't know, let me tell y'all. Remember when Diddy swore that federal agents broke into a cell, well, prison inspectors broke into a cell and took his confidential notes. And he called another emergency hearing. And the judge was like, what? They were, and Diddy was like, yeah, man, I had confidential, this is my lawyer-ish, written on top. And the judge was like, yo, that's a violation of constitutional stuff. Yo, whatever you found in those notes, you cannot use in court. The prosecution was sitting there saying, Your Honor, we already got this man dead to rights. Fine. You don't want his little rantings of a lunatic used in court. We don't need him. We can still put him in jail. What was on those notes? It was a to-do list of who he was going to bribe, who he was going to harass, who he needed taken down. Exactly. Diddy was writing that. The prosecution was like, Your Honor, we don't even need it. We don't care. Fine, whatever. Then Diddy's team took a step forward. Diddy's team said, wait a second. The people that raided my jail, they weren't, first of all, first they said, you guys told the prisons of bureaus to raid my cell so you could get information. The prosecution looked at Diddy and said, are you serious? The MDOC is one of the worst federal lockup centers that you're in. It gets raided. They call them sweeps to see if there's any contraband, but to also make sure that the jail isn't mistreating people, right? The prosecution rolled the eyes. The judge is like, this is very serious, especially considering this all happened in a matter of 3 days. I think it happened on a Friday and it played out for the weekend. This is very concerning, considering that you guys violated his constitutional rights. The government rolled their eyes. Then Diddy's team came out and said, as a matter of fact, we think the person that raided his jail actually works for the prosecution. And we think this is that. It's been violated. He should be set free. That's when the prosecution said, all right, I've had enough of you, Mark Agnifilio. First of all, those weren't his exclusive works. The judge is like, oh no, this is a travesty. And the prosecution was like, stop. It was never labeled attorney-client. It was never labeled. And the judge said, huh? And the prosecution was like, it was never labeled that. It literally was a notepad. And then the judge was like, wait. And he looked at the defense and said, you told me that this was labeled attorney-client privilege. So then Mark Agnifilio was like, I don't know, Your Honor. It could have been labeled anything. To tell you the truth, I really haven't seen it. So then the judge was like, you got 5 business days to tell me what you saw, because how did he humiliate the judge? The judge ruled on an issue without looking at the evidence. He just assumed that Diddy's team was being honest with him because he didn't think that a lawyer would come into the U.S. District Court and start lying. Diddy's team came to court next Friday. The judge said, what happened? Where's the evidence? Mark Agnifilio and them are like, you know what, judge? I guess it wasn't privileged information. The judge had egg on his face. That was incredibly embarrassing. And the judge trusted you and you lied to him. That was Diddy's first sin. And I said, if you are going to play those type of games, you do that later on with a Hail Mary, not early in the game. The judge never forgot the way Diddy humiliated him because the judge trusted Diddy's team was telling the truth. So in all that happened, the judge has not been given Diddy an ounce to breathe at all. And even how Diddy wanted to move this, can we move it for 2 months? The judge said, absolutely not. You're not ruining my summer vacation. We are going. And for the issues they couldn't decide in, the judge said, it's okay. We'll decide in court. I'll see y'all next week. Anyway, let's get into this, right? Let's get into this. 1 second. All right. So let's get into the live stream. And don't believe the bull BS about his uncharged assaults are going to be excluded. They are not. His victims, whether they did charges or not, are going to speak on him. The only thing is they're going to have expert witnesses to put it into frame. Okay, let's get into this live tweet. All rise. Judge Subramanian says, so we have a slew of motions. We'll go through them. Then other issues Then the other issues the parties would like to address. Counselors, let's start with the summary charts at docket 203. Have you worked that out to mute it? The U.S. Attorney's Office. Your Honor, we'll get the drafts early. Diddy's lawyer jumps in. Your Honor, we will raise issues about specific charts. The judge, okay, listen, I agree. I'll need to look at them one by one on a line item basis. So 203 is denied as mute. Now, as far as the motion 205, Dr. Hughes, that is granted in part and denied in part. Coercive control is out. Now, if you guys don't know, Diddy's team has been begging to get their experts in that's going to tell us that what he did to Cassie and all of those other girls, that's just what people do and it shouldn't be looked at. The government is like, no. We're getting experts in. We're bringing experts in to prove that what you did was literally Silence of the Lambs. The judge says, as to interpersonal violence, if Dr. Hughes is asked, she can, of course, answer. He didn't want, Dr. Hughes is for the prosecution. He didn't want Dr. Hughes to be able to respond to interpersonal violence because they wanted Dr. Hughes banned completely, but the prosecution said, no. A lot of people just think this is an abusive relationship or this and that. We need an expert on sex trafficking, coercive control, and all this stuff to actually testify and say that the way Cassie reacted, or maybe Gina Hum reacted, or even Kim Porter reacted, this is the way you always react. And it shows that because you act exactly how victims of this stuff act, then you are exactly a victim. Again, it's like having a dog expert on and saying, no, if you train your dog like this, it'll stop going to the bathroom in the house. That's what she's going to do about the controls. If Dr. Hughes is asked, she can answer. Of course she can answer. But counselors, I don't want to have at trial is an attempt to get in the material in the coercive control section. Dr. Bartley will address that shortly. Dr. Bartley is Diddy's team. Dr. Bartley is saying that they want Dr. Bartley to testify as to coercive control and all this stuff. Their logic is, and they said this last hearing, Your Honor, the government just used Dr. Bartley in a different case. So the government looked at them and said, no shit. But the case didn't have anything to do with sex trafficking. So yes, she's an expert with A, B, and C, but she's not an expert with sex trafficking. And because of that, no, we want this all excluded. Anyway, they said that, so the judge goes on and says, the motion to exclude March 5th, 2016 video, that's the Cash It video, the motion to exclude is denied. That comes as a surprise to no one. Anybody that thought that video would be excluded, you were an idiot. The fact that people think that CNN took footage that is ratings gold, because they do it for the clicks and views too, babe, and edit it on free software and then threw away the original, that don't even sound right. That's not even the way news people work. Anyway, right? They're saying that it's denied. The U.S. is not seeking to introduce the broadcast footage. I'll cite 839 Federal Rules of Procedure at 568 about fair and accurate depictions. The prohibitive value here is not substantially outweighed. So another lie that Diddy was called in and the judge called him out on. There is an original of the tape. And the judge said, fine, we're not going to use the CNN footage, but we are going to use the original. CNN was sold a edited version, but we are going to use the original unedited. So you can't say, it made me look bigger, or it was edited to speed up. It made it look bigger. Diddy, shut up. And you was on your, anyway. The judge said, prosecutors, can you address any of the issues, though? The U.S. attorney jumps in. Your Honor, there's a surveillance video. We've been able to slow it down to the frame rate of the cell phone video. And the cell phone. It was an iPhone 6 video. It's a bit shaky, but we've been able to correct those. Now, this is important information. This is what lets us know that if it was taken on an iPhone 6 video, again, it was taken by the employee. I've long heard rumors that when they saw that videotape, one of the security employees actually taped the security footage on their phone. iPhone 6 does line up to about 2016, give or take. So again, this is what was taped directly from the security footage on an iPhone 6 in 2016 when it happened. For those of you guys doubting whether that would do it, absolutely not. That's how the elevator stuff with Beyonce and Jay-Z got leaked. Because don't forget, security people know that they see a lot of dirt, and if they can preserve it, you never know when it's going to come in handy. Because I know whoever sold that to CNN got a good payday. So the U.S. attorney also goes on to say, and this is when they said Diddy's face crumbled. Your Honor, the person who shot the cell phone video will testify at trial, so we'll introduce the actual video. They said when they said this, Diddy's face crumbled. He looked a little bit shocked. They said he looked worried. They said he looked scared. The judge, okay, if the defense has a proposal for something that can be easily done, please do. Next, the motion not on the docket about a particular medical procedure. The U.S. attorneys jump in. Your Honor, the medical procedure goes directly to the degree of control he had over her. Consent to specific sexual acts. It's relevant to the questions on coercion. Now, if you guys are wondering what that medical was, go watch. Well, you don't even have to watch my old lives or my old videos because I'll pull it back up the week before. I'll give y'all a crash course. But there was a doctor that Diddy was obsessed with Cassie looking like Jennifer Lopez. They kind of favor each other in the face, but as far as the body, Cassie had a flatter chest. Jennifer Lopez had a modest chest, but it was fuller, right? So Diddy demanded that Cassie go to the plastic surgery to get her tatas done. Here's where things get sick. I mean, that's already sick, but he demanded. Here's where things get sick. When she got her tatas done, she came home. And Diddy literally called the doctor and cursed him out and threatened to bash his head in. He also forced Cassie. Diddy wanted Cassie to go back to the doctor the next day and get them smaller because he thought they were too big. On the phone, the doctor was like, she's really, really swollen. Don't worry, they're going to settle. This and that. Diddy said, I don't care. The doctor then said, you're putting her life at risk by sending her back to the clinic. She needs to heal. And once she heals in a couple of weeks, maybe even a month or two, we can come back and we can fix it. Okay. Diddy threatened the doctor. The doctor then had an emergency surgery where they called Cassie in 3 days later to open her back up and put in smaller implants. And then Cassie was sent home. That was, of course, that put her life, but it showed the level of control because there is not a human person that will consent to going under the knife 3 days, not even 3 days, just 2 days later. Diddy threatened that thing. And on top of that, the doctor is going to testify that Diddy was always the person screaming and yelling. Diddy was the person that was upset. This was at Diddy's thing, and Cassie was crying. She was upset. She did not want it, but she did it to please Diddy. Okay. Anyway, so the judge said that's what they're talking about that's what people are saying, the specific medical procedure goes directly. Now, there are rumors that they might be talking about Diddy forced Cassie to get in a bore. Don't forget, Kim was the only Misa and Kim and then Dana Tran later were the only people that had his kids. But people are saying that Diddy might have forced Cassie also to get in a bore. We don't know if that's true or not. However, regardless of what the medical procedure was, here's what the judge said. Counselor, you're not alleging that the procedure was part of the alleged sex trafficking. The U.S. attorney, it was related, Your Honor, 100%. The judge said, counselors, you're going to have to be more specific. U.S. attorney, Your Honor, I'm trying to be cautious. Judge, counselor, we have motions not on the docket, and I understand that. But we have to get to the heart of these issues and get it right. And it must be a public trial. The judge, I'm going to grant the motion. All that means is that the government must approach first before trying to elicit that testimony. The U.S. attorneys, Your Honor, but it may be relevant to Vodar. Do we have a conference on that? Vodar is when the prosecution and the defense both, like, there's a jury pool. And the prosecution and defense both get, I think, 6 times maybe, I don't know, I'm not certain, to actually say, I don't want that juror, I don't want that juror, I don't want that juror. So, it's like playing a game of like Battleship. No, you're out, you're out, you're out. So that way the jury is supposed to be pretty much evenly killed with jurors that both sides are at least comfortable with. That is the voir dire. And to make sure that there isn't a jury that's just like, Cassie's a ho, 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 she deserved everything. She ain't deserved 50 million. And then another jury, I don't even need to hear the evidence. Diddy is guilty. Like, they would never have me on a jury unless I did voir dire. I passed it. Because when you run out of chances, yeah, it gets bad. Anyway, let's get back into this, shall we? 1 second. Where are we at? So anyway, the judge goes on to say, we have to get this right. There's the U.S. Attorney's Office saying, listen, whatever this medical procedure is, we also need to ask the potential jurors at voir dire, right? And the U.S. Attorney says, also, do we have a conference set up for that? They don't. Mark Agnifilio was trying to stall. He was hoping that the conference could be moved so that would give them a few more days. And they said, on the types of questions to prospective jurors, the judge said, counselors, as a motion to omit statements of its employees and prior consistent statements of witnesses, has there been any attempt for you guys to agree on whether we can admit it or not? U.S. Attorney's Office. Your Honor, we have produced a list of exhibits to the defense, so we'll confer before calling witnesses. The judge, given that you disclosed a lot of the stuff, could the court get a chart by next Friday? Then I can resolve those before trial to avoid all-nighters during trial. This is very important because the judge is letting the prosecution know, which the prosecution is like, baby, we sitting on ready, but also let Diddy know she's not going to have any delays. Even if they have to do all-nighters and work, it doesn't matter. You wanted this trial to start May 5th. You fought for this trial to start May 5th. The trial's starting May 5th. The U.S. Attorney's Office. Just a moment, Your Honor, whispers to her coworker. Your Honor, that sounds reasonable. They said the U.S. Attorney was almost floating on air. They felt so good. They said that Diddy's team was very somber, very they was losing. Anyway, judge. As to the motion on the 911 call, many people think this 911 call might be when Diddy put a bomb in Kid Cudi's car. Counselors, the call could come in as a prior consistent statement. I emphasize could. The motion to preclude Mr. Combs' prior consistent statements, we reserve on it and address at trial. Failure to comment on other bad acts. Now, the funny thing is, I looked around with that 911 call. There's another 911 call that they actually might be trying to bring up, and that would be Rodney Jones, aka Little Rod, 911 call. Remember when they said there was a man, G, that was in Chalice Studios that got banged and the police just let it go and didn't call witnesses? People are saying this 911 call could be referring to that 911 call from Chalice Studios because the police have something different, but Little Rod has actual evidence and pictures of blood all over a bathroom and carnage and all this stuff. But, what will be, will be. Okay, so we're going to try to get more information on that. Okay, so they're saying that the motion to preclude Mr. Combs' prior consistent statements, we reserve on it and address it at trial. Failure to comment on other bad acts, we reserve. What does that mean? That is not good for Diddy. Preclude means that it's excluded even before it goes to trial. The judge refuses to do that. The judge wants to see how it's presented and how the case is built, and they will decide at trial. But this is very bad for Diddy because if you're even letting it go that far, most likely the judge is going to say A-okay for all that. Let's see. Diddy and his lawyer are now whispering with each other as the U.S. attorney stands and speaks. Again, when I say Diddy was freaking out and panicking, he didn't think that this little hearing was going to go this much in the U.S. prosecution's hearing. So Diddy is whispering furiously, eyewitnesses are saying, into his lawyer's ear, and they're conferring with each other. Again, people are saying that it did not look like Diddy wanted that 911 call admitted, and he thought it would be excluded. The U.S. attorney stands and speaks. Your Honor, there's a host of case law in our favor. The judge said, should I exclude evidence of the defendant's prior good acts? Some of his background is relevant. The U.S. attorney says, Your Honor, we want to preclude evidence that other couples hire escorts. Mark Agnifilio jumps in. Your Honor, I'm not sure I understand what Mrs. Comey is arguing. That's the prosecution. The prosecution. Your Honor, just because others may have done something wrong doesn't make it okay. Mark Agnifilio. Your Honor, they were swingers. Diddy is going to lose so effing bad. Listen, the fact that Diddy is still going with the defense, that what he did to Cassie and those other women, meanwhile, don't forget they are trying to say that getting either the implants or the Borobor or whatever that medical procedure is, was not just something that happened between him and Cassie. It was something he made all women who dated him do, the coercive control. On top of that, what Mark Agnifilio is still trying to say that they want to normalize that other couples may hire escorts and that they were swingers. And the government looked at Mark Agnifilio and said, you realize hiring an escort is illegal. And you realize just because everybody else might have done something illegal, that doesn't make it right. And if you know other people that did this illegal activity, then I would suggest you give us their name. We'll be happy to investigate. But Diddy's just sitting there on quiet. So the judge goes on to say, in the motion to dismiss briefing, there are arguments about such actions that were not prosecuted. Are you going to call out those comparators? Mark Agnifilio, no, Yana, the judge. Precluding cross of law enforcement. We'll deal with that at trial. Again, Diddy, they're saying, looks close to tears because he was hoping in this last minute emergency they could find some way to even give him a couple of days. Again, Mark Rico wasn't joking when he quit, and he said Diddy is not ready for trial. And also, you're not messing up my law license, because he alluded to there was some type of ethical conflict that him representing Diddy did. This man has represented murderers and child malolos. You know it's bad if they're saying there's something ethical that Diddy's doing. Anyway, the judge motion to preclude testimony of Dr. Barty is granted in part and denied in part. Nothing on coercive control. So Dr. Barty was Diddy's legal expert that was supposed to testify that what Diddy did wasn't coercive control. It's just what swingers do. However, the judge and the U.S. prosecution pointed out, what are you talking about? She's not even an expert on that. So how is she speaking? So the judge just said she cannot speak on coercive control, but she can speak on coping strategies that can come in, but not the part of changing memories for lawsuits. That seems like lawyer written testimony. Again, changing memories for lawsuits, Diddy wanted to get an expert to come in and says that many people change their memories so they can sue, i.e. lie. The judge said, absolutely not. That seems like lawyer written testimony. Diddy's lawyer, Yana, can we put in a very short letter on Monday? The judge, yes, you can, counselor, and I'll review it. They're saying the judge looks like they're sick of Diddy's team. Let's move on to victim 4. I don't see a basis to change my decision of them being able to testify anonymously. Diddy's lawyer, Yana, we maintain our objection. They go on. Yana, we don't know how much of this was voted on by a grand jury. Only the government can answer that. Yana, they presented the case to the grand jury. The judge looks at the prosecution. On constitutional issues? Are you the designated expert? Mark Agnifilio jumps in. Yes, I am, Yana. The judge. I don't think we're going to resolve the constitutional issue today, counselor. But the defense is asking why the forced labor was not in the earlier enterprises letters. Government, do you have a reason? The forced labor, that is actually, I think, Diddy's most damning a lot of people looked over it, but I think the forced labor is Diddy's most damning piece of evidence. Why is that? Because when you have RICO and when you have sex trafficking, if you're convicted of either, especially the RICO, if you have forced labor, that makes it a minimum of 20 years and easily a mandatory of life. Diddy might be facing life in prison. Honestly, how old is Diddy? 60, 20 years, 80? Yeah. You still, listen, or is he 56? It don't matter. He'll be 76 by the time he gets out if he gets the minimum of 20 years for everything. You still got a lot of life to live. They say that the first person that's going to live to be 150 years old has been born. I'm hoping it's me and my bloodline came through. But whoever it is, people are going to start living a lot longer. Anyway, if those pack of top ramens don't do him in, because you know that be shortening people's lifespans by a lot. Anyway, the U.S. attorney jumps in and said, Your Honor, victim 2 and victim 4 are forced labor. The review of this material is incredibly iterative, meaning we gave details. So go ahead and review it because we get you in those forced labors. And it's not just one person, it's 2 charges of forced labor. The U.S. attorney said, Your Honor, some of the records don't seem relevant at first blush, but later appear different. The judge, okay, I'll exclude on item 5. Housekeeping, USA. Your Honor, we want to seal the video exhibits of the freak-offs. The judge, does this override public interest? That's when I got interested. I'm like, wait, hold on. Are you allowed to do that? The U.S. attorney says, yes, see Amadeo. It's a thing that said that even if it's a public interest at a public trial, things that are pro nono or that can hurt the witnesses should not be used. The U.S. attorneys, Your Honor, look at the court and the public, the exhibits on Friday before the trial on May 9th. We are getting all the exhibits on May 9th. Make sure you lock into my live stream. We are going to go through all the exhibits. That is all the evidence, photos, videos, everything. On May 9th, we are getting it. Christmas in May. The judge says, all right, U.S. Attorney's Office. Your Honor, can you allocute the defendant on the plea offer that was made to him? So Diddy was made a plea offer, right? Obviously he denied it, but when you make a plea offer, the judge has to go in. You have to go in front of the judge, and the judge is like, "You were made a plea offer. Do you understand what it means to deny it? Do you understand the charges you're facing? Do you understand this and that?" Diddy says, "Yes, Your Honor," and then that's the end of it, because you can't come back and be like, "I didn't even know. I wish if only I'd known." The judge says, "Counselor, is there any reason we can't do the allocation on Thursday?" The U.S. Attorney's Office. By the end of the day, Monday, the judge, y'all, Diddy, wait, did I lose my connection? Hey, I'm back. Sorry about that. You guys, when I say that Diddy's butt got cooked, right? Wait, is my mic off? Hold on. Is my mic off? No, I think my mic's on. Can you guys hear me? Put a 1 if you guys can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Put a 1 if you can hear me. You guys should be able to hear me. Anyway, Diddy got cooked. He got his butt handed to him. Diddy is not getting out, and that ninja is going to jail. On May 9th, we will see all... Okay, audio's fixed? Okay. On May 9th, we will see all things. On May 9th, we will... I'm going in and out. The lagging's gone. 1. Okay, you guys can hear me. Thanks. Anyway, on May 9th, we will hear everything. Don't worry. I am going to have, on May 9th, I'm going to have a reliable stream. Y'all know how I am. I'm moving around. I'm going to have a reliable stream. I'm going to have everything. I will see you guys May 9th. I will keep you guys updated. And don't forget, as we move up to the trial, we are going to start having recap the trials. We're the best, and we're going to go over it. It's going to be good. All right, you guys, listen. It's going to be Christmas in May. Make sure you lock it in May 9th, and make sure you start checking my page every single day for Diddy updates. Y'all know right? I run this city, send the cops, the DA, the feds to come get me. Y'all. Literally, at the end of the day, we are breaking the city trial. Oh, best part. We're going to have live people in the courtroom. I actually am going to show up in the courtroom too, but the days that I can't be there, we're going to have live people in the courtroom giving you eyewitnesses of what they see. As soon as court ends, come to my channel. We're going to break it down in a way that is funny, relatable, but most importantly, it is legally sound arguments. All right, y'all? Listen, join me for May 9th, Christmas in May. We're going to be the jury selection, and we're going to have some really, really good legal experts that are going to be in there coming out and telling you what they saw and heard. You can even have a dial-in and a call-in if you guys want. I run this city, send the cops, the DA, the feds, the government. Oh, also, what else is going on? Oh, listen, let me get off live. I got to go back on live and talk about Shannon Sharpe. Meet me back on live and y'all want to hear me drag Shannon Sharpe because some new information has come out and it is really, really good. Plus, I put my ear to the street to actually find out what's on that tape. Y'all, let's go. Let's MF and go. All right, y'all. Listen, I'll talk.